going, hey, girl, hey.
Happy Kwanzaa. Oh, it's not time yet. It's not time yet.
Dear listeners, I just had to have a coming to Jesus with Maim.
I'm very tired right now. I've just had a lot of stuff going on.
God. Well, how are you, girl? What's new with you?
I'm good. I've been working on Halloween costumes.
Well, good.
Yep. I finished my husband's yesterday.
That's good.
So that's out of the way. That leaves me approximately a week to work on mine. Not including all of the activities I have to still do on tomorrow and the next day and so forth and
you
so
have
on.
Activities?
Shut up. I have too many activities at this point. It's only this is the only time of the year that you will hear me gripe about activities because there's so many of them. This is like the only time.
Dear listeners, for those of you that have never done drag before, drag at Pride and Halloween are jobs. Like if you actually do it like more than once a week or more than like once a month, they become jobs on top of your real job, which pays the bills.
on top of the fact that I decided to be a person who does everything myself, which I know you'll say I chose that life. You know,
did.
Whatever.
You did.
I don't regret it.
I mean, sometimes maybe a little
bit.
Because you know, a lot of times drag queens that make the stuff don't actually do that much performing.
I know.
Like they make stuff for other queens.
I figured that out over time.
Yeah. So you girl, you.
I figured that part out.
And most of them, you know, started when they were 20 years younger than you. So they have things from 20 years ago they could just throw back on now that people don't remember.
Can they really wear something from 20 years ago, honey?
I mean, cocaine goes a long way.
Cocaine.
Well, so, dear listeners, beginning of the podcast, I just want to let y'all know that next week there will be no new podcast. We are taking a week off for our own mental sanity.
Our Halloween break.
Our Halloween break. Maim needs to do some stuff. I'm going on a little vacation. So we need a week off. We will be back the week after Halloween. Which this kind of works because, you know, this is the end of the season for this one, not for You Slay Me, but for this one it's actually the end of the season, so that's good.
That makes sense.
Yeah, girl, I don't know, have you looked at our new and updated Instagram feed at all?
Yes.
You know, since I took over your job?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just coinciding with your Twitter post. Right?
No, girl, I'm doing everything from Instagram and Twitter. I'm doing my own Twitter.
You're actually doing stuff.
Doing stuff.
I thought you were just like double posting from Twitter and sharing it over to Instagram.
No, I'm doing that to the Mims and Maim stuff, but no, my Divine Miss Mims stuff is separate.
Oh, what?
Girl, yes, I have opinions on Miss Mims. Like, girl, don't eye crack. Your one eye, your lazy eye at that. Oh, God almighty. Lord, I am tired. That's
why I was like, I gotta put. Can we give him another 30 minutes? Because literally, like yesterday was the last day for taxes, and so all of my clients are like, "Let's meet." I'm like, "Oh my God, this is the most I've met and talked to people in a few months because of like the end of tax season." Exactly. That's why I was like, girl, I got a lot of notes to write.
Dear listeners, it sounds like Maim is actually like a tax attorney. So no, she just helps accountants be real people.
I'm a business. My day job is I'm a business coach for accounting firms.
Yeah, doesn't that sound exciting?
It's actually quite nice. I enjoy it.
It pays the bills too.
it pays bills, and I actually enjoy all of them. Well, not all of them. I enjoy most of them.
You know what? We've been babbling for a bit. Did you know that? Like, this has been a... Speaking of that face you're making right now, Maim, did you know that we have a Patreon?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a nose hair, and nose hair migrated itself backwards into my mouth.
You go to patreon.com, Mims and Maim, you can throw us somebody. Hey, Maim.
I hate being middle-aged. Yes.
Did you know that we have another podcast that we are not recording tonight?
I heard rumor.
It's called You Slay Me. It's a Murder, She Wrote podcast.
And boy, howdy, is this going to be a good week for that.
Hey, Maim.
Yes.
Did you know that we have merchandise? Dear listeners, if you go to mimsandmaim.com, you can buy a nice shirt.
Yes.
And some other things. I don't remember what else would go on there.
Ooh.
And dear listeners, if you feel like it, like and subscribe and rate us.
Yes. We love 5-star ratings.
We love 5-star ratings. We had the best little blurb.
It was so
nice. It was the sweetest thing, talking about how, they felt seen, which made me feel seen, and I love it.
I felt seen, which I
everybody
never
felt
seen,
and two more, and so on, and so on, and so on. And this is season 3, episode 22. Julia drives over the First Amendment.
I'm Julia Sugarbaker. I'm Julia Sugarbaker. I'm Julia Sugarbaker. I'm Julia Sugarbaker. And that's Marjorie. Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia. The lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out. And that is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
Like the internet didn't exist.
I mean, it was early on. It was early days.
So we're at Sugarbaker's.
Sugarbaker.
And Anthony is at a desk.
Yes.
And he's
Charlene's
got like
desk.
Charlene's desk. He's got like papers and books and everything around him. And Charlene brought him his zippy up pills. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
We are clearly best friends.
Yes. Dear listeners, that's a reference.
That was unprompted, by the way. Unprompted.
To Saved by the Bell, where Jesse Spano got addicted to caffeine pills.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And literally, like any person at this point now, I think most people in our demographic will think about their teenage children and be like, oh, is that like how my kid drinks like 4 Monsters a day? Yes, it is.
Do you drink Monsters?
Yes. No.
Do you drink any caffeine?
I work with this guy that used to literally drink 3 Monsters a day at the office, because our office used to give that was one of the drinks you could get. And one day he came in, he looked kind of unusually unsteady. And I was like, I think you should probably take it back a couple of Monsters. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. And it was literally a Jesse Spano moment. I shook him and everything. It was wonderful.
I mean, he probably just had some kidney stones. That's probably the worst.
I mean,
no, they are not. Too much caffeine is not good for you. Like,
no. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like that office that I worked at, it was like so many people that were a little bit younger than me, not much younger, a little bit younger.
Is this the robotics place?
No, this was the when I worked at Fiverr.
Oh right. I forgot you worked at Fiverr.
Yeah. It's all of these like younger people, and they're just like, Yeah, we can do that. We can. Oh, we can do whatever we want. I'm like, no. You can't.
I have a question. Did Fiverr just Fiverr out their employees?
No, we're
okay. Okay, you don't need to speak.
No,
Anthony is taking his final exams, girl.
Thank God we can get past this part of the plot.
Yeah, next, Charlene just repray. Anyway, yeah, he's,
oh no, that is next.
That's.
What's the baby's name? Olivia. Yeah.
We don't know yet. Don't care.
It's a wink in Bill's eye.
So Suzanne's a little concerned about the optics of this.
I could see that.
Because the first thing that they see when they walk in is a man sitting at a messy desk with his eyes rolling back in his head. And she goes, "When was the last time you, in fact, showered, Anthony?" And he said, "This morning. But I've been forgetting to do my laundry." "Well, when's the last time you do that?" "Well, when was Bush elected?" Dear listeners, this would have been about 4 years ago by that point, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
I remember people in college like that. Just like they smelled just so terrible.
And not in the good smell way, but the bad smell way.
Like it would just be like something died and like soured and everything. It was just
Dear listeners, I don't know if you know this or not about the gay community, but there are some men who are very into that. Into a little stank.
Let me tell you right now.
Uh-huh.
The reason that I do not go to the local leather bar named Ramrod anymore is because a lot of people there are into that. And to the point that you can barely breathe inside between the actual cigar smoke and the BO.
Oh, they still let cigar smoke happen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, no. Girl, when I come down there, we can't go back to Ramrod. My throat will swell.
That's okay. I'll take you to Eagle, honey. Eagle they don't have smoking. I mean, if you wanna get your little leather fix on, I'll take you to the Eagle.
I don't need a leather fix.
Got a little leather fix. You need a little drag fix. We got the drag fix.
You know. I'll watch a show or two. I watch not a crowded show. Now, girl, not a crowded show.
I just thought about that. When you come, because it's gonna be on a Thursday, we can literally leave Rita Rudner, go to the There's like 2 different shows on Thursday nights. Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
Done, girl. Done.
2 for 1 cocktails. Yeah.
And it'll be off season.
Oh my
and so
God.
It'll be great. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do it up. Fort Lauderdale, I'm coming for ya.
Walk across the street and get some New York grilled cheese.
Are they open late?
Oh, yes.
Then we are. And then home in bed by 9.
There you go.
Because Rita Rudner's set can't be longer than 15 minutes, right?
Oh, this is going to be such a strange night for us. I guess I hadn't thought it through fully until like really thinking about the audience that's going to be there versus the 2 of us. And that's going to be a weird night.
Well, girl, I'll just throw my Bruce Valanche wig.
He actually came here last year.
Was he funny?
I didn't go.
Let's see, who could you pull off? What older Sammy Davis Jr., but he's dead.
Sammy Davis resurrected. It's been 3 days.
Oh, God. Anyway, Maryjo, she used to get so nervous. She would have these bad dreams, like she'd study for the test, but all the questions she didn't know the answer to, where she'd be naked or things like that. And it really stressed out Anthony.
Yeah. When we first started doing this podcast, and you always joke about how I'm Maryjo.
Yeah.
When she said that, I felt seen.
I never had that.
I have anxiety dreams all the time. Some of them are like that. I still have anxiety dreams about school. Like,
oh, I do. I have anxiety dreams. I didn't graduate.
Yeah, I mean, like it's wild.
And I get up and I wake up and I'm like, I know exactly where my diploma is. I'm good.
Yeah, it's wild. Because it's like those real life anxiety dreams are they feel so real that I totally, when she said that, I was like, yep, Eric was right.
Well, Charlene's very happy, kind of, that the newsstand next door opened up. Because that way she can go to the Inquirer and see, what Madonna's doing, and who Sybil is having a fight with right now. Sybil Shepherd.
We lived that life back then.
God, I love Sybil Shepherd. She is such a yes. She's notoriously hard to work with, right?
Yes, still,
yes. Dear listeners, if you ever want to watch something great, I usually, a lot of the times the roasts aren't that good, right?
No.
But Sybil Shepherd roasting Bruce Willis is
chef's kiss.
Kiss.
It was great. I'm glad she was able to. I'm glad just because that is such a pivotal point of like our time period as kids, that it was just nice to see just how ridiculously raw their relationship really was.
Oh yeah. And like one of my favorite comedies growing up was Sybil, like the Sybil Shepherd Show with her and Christine Baranski.
Yeah.
Dr. Sick.
That was on the short list of shows for us to cover. By the way,
we still could after this runs out.
Yeah, I mean, because that wasn't even as long a run.
No, it was 3-ish seasons, two of which are good.
And she's still very much alive, so we might be able to get her attention because she'll be like, somebody actually cares.
I mean, Christine Baranski, we can't get her attention because she's in.
No, because she's
got that new.
She has
show.
Transcended.
She has transcended. I mean, she was in Mamma Mia. How much farther can you go?
Yes, and Mamma Mia 2, and soon to be Mamma Mia 3.
Are they making a third one?
You didn't hear that they're making a third one?
My God.
They're making a third one about the gay dad getting married.
Here we go again. Is that what it's called?
I don't remember what it's called. It's about the gay ones getting married.
Speaking of another thing, dear listeners, before we move on with this, if you want to see something else that's hilarious, every year, dear listeners, British Comedy do the Red Nose events, which are little comedic shorts about comedy and making fun of things, and like French and Saunders, who are two comedic golden people,
literally goddesses on earth.
Jennifer Saunders was in Absolutely Fabulous. They do a Mamma Mia skit that is like just her, Joanna Lumley, and Miranda Hart. What's her last name? Miranda Hart. Right. Are like just rip it to shreds, and it is the Swede is a turnip, just a turnip on a floating turnip. It is so good. Well, girl, the newsstand next door has a dirty section.
You better stop. Georgia?
In Georgia.
Who allowed that? Does Julia know?
Well, she's going to find out soon enough. Apparently, they have a new poster up.
What's it of?
It's of a woman.
Oh, what kind of woman? It's like
scantily clad in nothing but rubber with a dog chain around her neck.
Oh, wow.
So Maryjo's like, this is Suzanne and Maryjo are like, Julia's going to go off the deep end, but she's always had opinions, and she's always rational, and it will be, okay. She'll just speak her mind and then calm down. And
what was that?
Julia ran into that poster.
Oh, okay. So we're committing crimes now.
And like, she says something about pornography being, I know it when I run over it. And she like they go over to her and she's like, that Sugarbaker, Sugarbaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I mean, let's pause here for just a moment.
A moment, okay.
To acknowledge Julia committed an actual crime.
An actual crime, yes.
Like if this was in real life, this is like a serious crime she committed.
Yes, it is. Because she is destroying property. I mean, maybe not so much that she's an older white woman, but
I didn't say all that. No. I ain't trying to get no well, any publicity at this point is good publicity. Right? But I mean, it's true. I mean, it's true. Yes. Is this episode ridiculous? Sure. But that is something that we have to establish right at the top before we dive into this.
Yes, she committed a crime.
A real crime.
A real crime, like destroying property.
Yeah. With intent.
With intent. And like causing business disruption. Like that is and if anybody's anywhere near there, assault with a deadly weapon because she's doing it with a car, right?
I mean, technically, because she used that car, it goes into like more of a felony area.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like a misdemeanor.
So we're back at Sugarbaker's. And we find out that it is $604 is the fine that Julia has to pay to repair everything.
Good gracious.
And it'll be $3,000 a week to run into the newsstands, and Charlene just doesn't know how she can keep up with that,
That is that's a pretty expensive hobby, taking down one newsstand.
So Suzanne has a very good point right now.
Okay.
She says for that you could buy a real nice outfit. And that's what she normally does whenever she gets upset about something, because it's really hard to be mad about injustice when you're in a really nice outfit.
Oh my gosh, she's absolutely right.
Isn't she though?
Like, she's absolutely... I know that when I am feeling like the world is against me, I just put on something cute and I just go about my day completely oblivious to anything else.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I love that though. Like, man, so every once in a while this show gives us these weird little psychological insights into Suzanne that's more disturbing than funny when you actually think about it.
Why is it disturbing?
It's just disturbing because you try to think about all of the terrible things that have happened to Suzanne over the course of this season.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Think about all the terrible things and then think about the fact that Suzanne didn't have money to go get outfits.
That's true.
So she was probably constantly spiraling because she didn't have any escapism from her terrible life. Reggie Mac Dawson. Looking at you, Reggie Mac.
So Julia's like, well, he claims that thing up there's protected by free speech and he's allowed to have it. And then they have a discussion about porn, a very lengthy discussion about porn, and Julia,
very lengthy.
Well, Julia's like, it's okay. I'll just keep doing this, and he can't afford to close down his stand every day, so eventually he'll stop putting that up there. And Maryjo says, I agree. I don't necessarily want to see it, but it is censorship, Julia. And then Julia compares a woman in that outfit to a black man in that outfit.
The conversation goes way right. It's like, we just hit a fork in the road.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah. I don't know what to say to that because I have seen black men in that at a rubber night.
Me too. So here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Clearly,
Clearly.
Linda Bloodsworth Thompson had some things to say, right? I don't know what set her off. I don't know what inspired, right? I don't know what newsstand she walked by or something like that. But clearly she was trying her hardest to make this point as pertinent as she could. And it was a lot.
What was the name of the woman who Jim Baker
Jessica
Hahn.
Jessica Hahn. Oh, that was right around that time, wasn't it?
Playboy. When was Jessica Hahn Playboy? It was November 1987.
That's really close to this episode.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because there is such this is that thing that we talk about where when folks get into this whole, I guess, like red versus blue states and all of these kinds of things, this is that perfect conversation where you do have, obviously we know that Julia is being played by an actress, but like you do have those people that are like, I'm very liberal except for this one thing.
Yep.
And then that one thing becomes this other thing, and then this other thing, and then this other thing.
And then before you get Donald Trump.
Right. It's really, I mean, think about that.
Yeah, no, I know, I have.
But it's so funny. Well, I know you have, but I'm saying, like, it's just funny to hear it. Because me and you kind of have a lot of liberal friends. We have some conservative friends, but like just hearing her do that, I'm like, oh, it's things like this. This is how the slope starts.
And like at the time, there is a form of feminism that is anti-porn, right? There
still is.
That is. There's one that's anti-porn. There's one that's anti-trans. There's multiple forms of feminism that they will still vote liberal. They still consider themselves liberal, but there's that. Yeah. And Anthony, what's wrong with your eyes?
Oh Lord.
And Suzanne's like, you're starting to look like Nancy Reagan.
I thought for a moment there, he reminded me of Big Brother Maim.
Why?
Because when he gets, when he.
Oh yeah. No, that's Big Sister Maim.
Well, you know what I mean.
Because you got Big Brother and a Big Sister.
That's true. Big Sister Maim.
Big Sister Maim.
I forget about Big Brother Maim.
And those eyes just get big and crazy.
When they get crazy, like when you know that somebody across the bar is going to get slapped. You're like,
or hugged. Why it could be hugged too.
It literally could be either one. You never know. It's like a crapshoot.
Because I've been at a pride across the bar. Hi, Mims! Big ass eyes come flying at me.
That's because she loves you.
With Florida right there beside her,
I can't stand you. I can't stand you.
You remember Florida?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So Suzanne says, I don't understand what all the fuss is about. I never used stimulants in college, and they were the best 6.5 years of my life.
Once again, more insights.
That's about how long it took me to graduate college.
Yeah, but you had you also had a nervous breakdown. So.
It was a nervous, I'm not going to lie. It was a nervous breakdown.
I was going to say, who are you talking to right now? I'm the one that got the phone calls. Who are you talking to right now? People blowing me up because everybody's freaking out. I'm like, what? What's going on? Don't talk to me about no nervous breakdown.
It wasn't that kind of nervous breakdown. I wasn't endangering myself or others.
No, you weren't, but it was close. It was close enough.
It was not. I was just depressed. That's all it was depressed. Real depressed.
Okay,
real
girl.
High. dear listeners, it was just weed. Bad weed when you're actually depressed is not necessarily a good thing, right?
I don't do weed, so anyway.
I know.
It doesn't really have an effect on me.
I know. Some people it won't.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is interesting. I don't feel anything.
So later on, Charlene asked Maryjo about censorship.
Oh boy, this conversation.
And Maryjo tells a little story about the Ayatollah and him burning books, and it's sort of the same. And then Julia runs into the poster again.
When Maryjo is in the middle of making some good stuff, and then that happens.
And Suzanne says, "Well, nice shot, Julia. You're getting better." And the owner hands Julia a note saying he's going to sue her for $10 million for infringing on his freedom of speech.
Wow.
Yeah.
$10 million in the 80s was a lot of money.
It was. It really, really was. Where am I at here? So we're at the police station.
Okay.
And Maryjo has an apology letter for Julia to sign. And Julia says no, she refuses. It's civil disobedience.
No.
She thought about just going over there and saying, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Creep, you like this episode of Jugs? How exactly are those jugs this week?" And Maryjo's like, "You show no signs of remorse." And like, the judge is not going to be happy with you.
Once again, this is not civil disobedience.
No, this is not civil disobedience.
This is literally criminal. Linda Bloodworth Thompson, this is criminal activity.
So we're at Sugarbaker's, and Anthony's talking to Charlene and Suzanne, and he makes a good point of, with all that's made of my unfortunate incarceration, y'all sure spent a lot of time at the police station.
Yeah. They do get involved with the cops a lot.
They do. So Anthony heads out, and Suzanne looks at Charlie and said, we'll just go and beg. Like, it's a lost art. We will just do that. And as they're leaving, Suzanne makes a point to say that she never lets begging go unrewarded unless it messes up her hair.
I agree.
I do too. Have you ever had sex in a wig?
No.
Have you ever had sex in drag?
No.
Me either. I've had people come up and say I'm real hot.
I've had that happen.
And how does that make you feel in your soul?
In my It's unusual, right? Because like when people say it to you, they sound genuine. Like they sound like they're not, like it's not like they're screwing with you. Like
right.
Because there's a difference. Oh my God, you're so hot, and versus like somebody talking to you as if like you're sexy.
Yeah.
It's very weird to me.
It is very weird. And part of it is I am a comedy drag queen. Like there is
exactly me too.
There is nothing pretty about the way I painted. It is a caricature of a drag queen. That's the way I describe the way that I do it. Like I am not Trixie Mattel big character. I am just a character. Like I'm not. I don't exaggerate things. I just paint, but I put on too much.
Yeah.
And like don't blend, so it's a mess. Like the thing is, I can paint a pretty eye. I can do all that when I get my glasses, when I get my contacts in.
Let me get my contacts in first.
Dear listeners, if you look at the Instagram that I post of Baby Me in drag, that is the longest I've ever been painted. It took an hour to put that paint on. It was a fierce paint. Like you can't see it very well for the picture, but I looked like a young Liza Minnelli. Like
Minnelli, Liza Minnelli. Sorry.
Speaking of, did you hear that Patti LuPone just up and quit the union?
Yes.
I know somebody that works for that union.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
I want her to come down here and do dinner theater now. That's what I want. And if she does, I'm gonna call you.
Yeah,
and we're gonna go see that too.
Patti LuPone live in Boca. Opening act, Rita Rudner. I'm there, girl.
I'll get you a wheelchair. It'll be everything.
I'll put on my Bruce Valanche wig. It'll be great.
We will be the youngest there by half.
Maybe even a third.
Oh, somebody just died beside me. Hello? Oh, no, it's just asleep. Okay. All right.
So, girl, I am going with some of my friends to Myrtle Beach this winter.
Mm.
And we have already planned to go to medieval times.
No. Why?
Because I'm white.
Fine. Go to your medieval times. Enjoy
I may even go see
jousting.
Legends, depending on who the legends are there. Have you ever seen one of those? I've never seen one.
I went to this. But one of my first relationship, his parents took us.
I mean, I will say I've seen Chad Michaels live, so I've seen somebody who was Reba on the tour, so I've seen drag queens who are these performers, but
yeah, it was really unusual because his dad didn't want to go, so the mom was like, "I want to see this," so we were like, it was very it was a time.
So we're at the porn mag. And they're in there waiting on Terry Wilder.
Okay.
And a lady shows up.
It's got to be this lady. That's Terry's secretary, right?
No, that's Terry Wilder. She's a woman.
What?
Mm-hmm.
A woman leading pornography?
Yeah. So Suzanne's like, I was gonna, show off my assets, but you're a woman, and that just makes me mad. And, Julia just doesn't like women in underwear by Goodyear. It just irritates her. And probably irritates the person in the underwear, too. And Terry's like, it's just intellectually incredible. She hasn't read the magazine. And she compares the magazine to the Inquirer. And that really hits home with Charlene. Like, well, they're trying to restrict this. What's the difference between restrict this and restrict the Inquirer? Mm-hmm. Very interesting. There's a lot because the Supreme Court ruled on this, but that's beside the point. And Charlene then tries to apologize to Terry and is like, well, what about Julia's freedom of speech, which is not being infringed upon? And Suzanne says, as they're leaving, if you are so okay with all of this that you do, how come I don't see you airbrush the spread eagle in a centerfold? Now that is an interesting concept, but doesn't really matter. It's more of here's where the discussion could get interesting because of the ownership of the porn, right? Mm-hmm. Like, OnlyFans is a good thing because the creators own their porn. Twitter, right. The creators own their porn. They control what's out there. As opposed to this where they could be taken advantage of. However, I believe that a lot of these porn stars are now unionized. They definitely are unionized. Yes. So,
I mean, it's, I probably both of us, right? I have friends that do sex work. Mm-hmm. And it was really funny when they described the lady on the poster because I was literally like, oh, that sounds like my friend. Because that sounds like one of her photo shoots that I've seen. Yeah. And But it's always been this very unusual thing, and I think this is where the show, this is a hindsight thing now, right? It's just this idea that no woman would ever just do this voluntarily, and no woman would ever like rightfully, right? It's always been that strange thing of like there are plenty of women that they have ownership of themselves and everything else. Now, we're not saying is it exploitive? Sure, they do that too. But guess what? They also do it in things like cheerleading for professional sports, and they also do it in like the world of regular modeling. That's everywhere.
They do it in movies.
Yeah, like all the time, right?
Do you think Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow would ever be allowed to wear anything that wasn't tight?
Oh my gosh, like ever. It's like literally like, Ms. Johansson, we're ready for you. Am I gonna get another yeast infection? Probably, yes.
Not probably, just yes, just yes, girl.
Right?
You should have a whole loaf of bread in there by now.
It's like, so it's just it is just very, very funny that it's always been interesting. And now that we've brought that up, I start to think to myself, I feel like this is also around the same time that Hugh Hefner's daughter took over Playboy, because remember, was in the 80s, that's when she assumed like she was running it and he was just the figurehead. So it's just very interesting, like that there was a changeover at that time, and it was like Linda had a axe to grind about this.
So we're at the police, and Terry drops the lawsuit.
Thank you, Terry.
And Terry's like, free speech will be protected. And Julia's like, porn won't be. Porn is commerce. Goes, shame on you. One day we will zone you out here and here and here in this country. And one day I hope to zone you out of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at Sugarbaker's. I'm going to skip over that. And there's a new poster up. Maryjo was wondering aloud what made them change their mind. And Charlene and Julia are giggling. And Suzanne's like, well, you say we don't ever do anything around here. And Charlene asks a very important question. How come they can't define porn? And she goes into the fact that, all these other people know what porn is. But humans are such complex creatures. We can get off on anything. Literally. Like she makes comment about JCPenney feet in the JCPenney catalog. Well, yeah, if people are getting off on it, and you say that people can't get off of things, that could be porn. You can't get your JCPenney catalog, right?
Yep.
Fine art. Some of it's got naked people in it. Is that porn? Like this is why the Supreme Court can't rule and say what porn is, because we don't know what porn is. Like, we have a base assumption that a sex act is porn, but where do you draw the line? Because there's sex acts in like fine art
in the Bible. Right? Is the Bible porn? Has anybody read Song of Solomon lately?
Well, Julia ran into the stand again.
What?
Hey, Maim!
Yes.
Did you find yourself a Miss Georgia World?
It was I like the little pink suit that Suzanne had on at the beginning. Oh,
that's the one.
So cute.
I hate that they are. Dear listeners, this is the last time we will probably have a really great dress for Suzanne, because you couldn't tell because they've been painting her up and cinching her real tight, but she's been gaining weight throughout all this. And not Dixie Carter, Delta Burke next season finally goes, no more. I can't. And you'll notice she embraces the weight a little bit more.
Unfortunately, the writers don't.
Right. So they start dressing her as an ugly fat person instead of a glamorous fat person.
And literally the theme, besides Charlene having the baby. It is the decline and fall of a fallen pageant girl.
It really is. Well, Maim, did you like this episode?
No.
So I'll put it this way. I like talking about this episode. I think it brought up some interesting things.
I found it to be an interesting episode. My only problem...
This is an interesting episode.
No,
that's
well,
trash.
It's strange though, right? So it's very unusual to me because this show normally they do a pretty good job of like point counterpoint.
Yep.
This time, like it just kept getting deeper and by the time she did that zoning speech, I was like, wow, this has gone way off the rails. That it was just like, okay, never mind then. I thought we'd have a healthy debate, but nope. So yeah, but talking about it's actually been entertaining.
Yeah,
it's funny. The 80s, when it came to sex, it is a time period where that was starting to really change. And I think about it like when, our friends, because we're of a certain age, they joke about the fact that back then a PG-13 movie would have nudity in it. And it wasn't, nobody thought anything of it. Like, unless it was a penis and then it'll get an X rating. But even flaccid. But it's just very funny that we're on this like kind of cusp of the internet, the cusp of like a lot of things starting to shift. And for once, Julia just sounds like a very old dinosaur versus how she sounds on so many more of the episodes.
It's true. Well, some of them I think that there's also going to be a little bit of decline in Julia. She still get riled up, but it's also she becomes a blue dog Democrat.
Yep.
As opposed to just a
crazy liberal lady.
Yeah, I mean, she becomes Joe Biden in the 80s versus Joe Biden today.
Girl.
It's true.
No, I know it's true.
It's true. Like, Joe Biden is currently, dear listeners, there's one thing, if you look at his policies, he's like the most progressive president since LBJ.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that this old white man is doing this.
Yeah.
And it's so subtle that nobody notices. They think he's conservative. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. Like, it's literally wild.
Anyway, why don't you tell the dear listeners where they can find you?
Fine. Okay, dear listeners, here's the deal.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I was trying something new. It didn't work, obviously.
Do that again.
Hello, dear listeners. It is I, your favorite relation, Auntie Maim. You can find me on my socials at Auntie Maims with an S. And that's all of them now because Mims made me. You can find me. You can find me performing at the Villain Theater in Miami, improvised comedy and stand-up. You can find out more about them at villaintheater.com.
You know what I'm going to start to do?
What?
Next time we do this, I'm going to put a thing for 20 seconds and see if you can get it all out in 20 seconds, because that's all you got to tell people before they lose interest. Go.
Cool. Dang it. You can find me performing in real life at the Killer Idol in Miami Beach, hosting Amazing Colossal Karaoke, which is a karaoke cabaret hybrid.
Don't explain it. Just go.
And what the heck? And finally, if you just happen to be local, right, or in the South Florida area, next week for Halloween, we're going to be having the Black Market Festival in downtown Fort Lauderdale that I'll be hosting. So it's going to be Friday and Saturday, 2 nights of spooky stuff. You can find out more about it at the Black Market MIA on Instagram. How about you, Mims?
Well, Maim also forgot to mention that she's one of the hosts of It's Happening Out. Just search for It's Happening Out wherever you get your stuff. Anyway, I'm the Divine Miss Mims. You can find me on social media at Divine Miss Mims. You can find this podcast on social media at Baking Sugar Pod. Hey, Maim.
I love that you gave me 20 seconds, and then I'm like, how about you, Mims? You can find me on social media. Gee, I'm sorry that it took me longer than 20 seconds.
No, girl, I'm trying to help you. Like, do you listen to this podcast?
Sometimes.
Okay.
But half of our audience doesn't even make it to this point.
That's true. But for the half that do, let's keep it going. Hey, bye.
Yes. Yes, bitch.
Did you know that we have a Patreon? Dear listeners, if you go to mimsandmaim.com, damn it, if you go to patreon.com, mimsandmaim, you can throw some money. Hey, Maim! Did you know we have another podcast? It's called You Slay Me Pod. It's a Murder, She Wrote podcast. Hey, Maim!
What?
Did you know we have merchandise? If you go to mimsandmaim.com, you can buy some shit. Anyway. Do you have anything else to add,
Go away.
bitch?
Go away.
Then why don't you just say goodnight, old bitch?
Good night, old bitch.
Bye, y'all.